Hey folks, Multiclass Gamer here. Today is February 17th, Thursday, 2022, and it is a little after 10 a.m. I do believe. Actually, a quarter to 11. Geez, time is going by fast. Obviously won't get this video by noon, but hopefully maybe later today or even tomorrow at the latest. Anyways, today I'm going to be showing off my GameCube collection because it has expanded quite a bit since last year, actually, since I did that last update video. This video is going to be at 30 FPS because, I know it's going to be longer, so longer video, might as well lower the frame rate. I don't think people are going to care that much. People haven't seemed to care that much about the higher frame rates in the first place. They're more of just a me thing that I do for myself, so yeah. So anyways, this is the library overall, essentially, right now. I'll turn on the light here real quick. I can't remember what it was, how much I had last year, but I think I'll flash on the screen real quick. But yeah, basically it has gone up to about 160 GameCube games I have right here. Yeah, this is across 4 different shelves, technically. Yeah, these are two separate bookcases that I put together, basically. And they contain my entire 6th gen library of games, essentially. So we have the GameCube on the top 2 here, Xbox in the middle, and PS2 on the bottom 2, as well as the Game Boy Advance library scrunched up on the bottom right there. Since well, I also have a Dreamcast, a few Dreamcast games as well. So yeah, this is all 6th gen here, and the GameCube is the top half, basically. So, yeah, I'll just go through each of the games individually. But first of all, I want to show you that I also have 3 GameCubes themselves. First of all, we have my original GameCube from 2001 or early 2002. I'm not 100% sure. That I showed first in my Luigi's Mansion Let's Play way back in the day, back in 2010. So here it is. As you can see, you can tell. You can distinguish it by its awful, terrible sun bleach, basically, on the front plate there. So that's unfortunate. But otherwise, it's still... Well, actually, no, it's not really, because it hasn't been as functional these days. It's actually, the laser disc is starting... The laser disc reader is actually starting to go out. It has trouble reading discs. You have to... it'll do it, but you'll have to, basically turn on the GameCube... And even if you put in the game, it's not going to be able to read it at first. You have to open and close the disc tray several times just to, to reset the laser disc reader, and eventually it will work. But yeah, it's only after several times opening and closing the disc tray. So this thing is almost out on its way out the door, basically. So it's kind of basically almost retired. It's over 20 years old, so it's not that surprising. I've gotten quite a bit of use about it over the years. But yeah, that's where it stands. It's in the game room for now, and eventually I might not be able to play it ever again, but for now it's still playable. It's just only after fiddling around with it a lot. And then we have my second GameCube. This is the Platinum one. I had this growing up. We had this at my dad's house, play with our stepbrothers. My other GameCube that I just showed you, I had at my mom's house. So I would have the Indigo one at my mom's house, and this one at my dad's house, which I shared with my step siblings. But the Indigo one was my personal GameCube, but this one I shared with my siblings growing up. And this one still works. It works better than the Indigo one, the original Indigo one, that is. But this one I have hooked up to my Vizio 43-inch TV, and it got an HDMI upscaler by Hyperkin hooked up to it. So it's a 480i upscaled HDMI, which is not the best quality for a GameCube game, but it's better than the usual composites output, which as you've seen on some of my videos I've done, where especially Super Mario Sunshine, when I did the final revisit back in 2019. The first several videos, that LP just looked awful because I was using composite for some ungodly reason. I don't know why I didn't stick to SVU like I usually do, or even upscale to HDMI. I don't know why I didn't do that. I know I didn't have what I have now, but which we'll go ahead and show that now. Because last year, not too long ago, I got a third GameCube. This is when, and it was shortly after I discovered that my original personal Indigo GameCube wasn't working anymore, so I decided that I would get another one. And I was gonna get this for a friend of mine, but they decided not to take it because it's because they didn't have the money to pay for it. But so I decided to keep it. This is my third GameCube, and I got it at a used game store last year. It's just a regular old Indigo GameCube, but without the sun damage, obviously, to the name faceplate, so you can distinguish it from my other Indigo GameCube, as well as the fact that it has the Game Boy player attached to it on the bottom. But not only that, but this one, I actually installed the Eon MK2, which I got not too long after I got this, and that was a very expensive purchase, but it was well worth it because it allows me to access the digital AV outputs of the GameCube, which allows me to access progressive scan. So that allows for the best possible quality for GameCube games, as well as upscaling it to HDMI. So yeah, basically the games look like it's almost like playing a completely different game. Honestly, when I play them progressive scan, like they just look incredible. So, and a lot of the games in this library here have access to progressive scan. Not all of them, but most of them do. And it's mostly the Nintendo first and second party games that have access to it, but a lot of third party games don't have access to it. So the best you can get is 480i upscaled to HDMI. So whatever. So anyways, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the games. So first we have a 1080 Avalanche, and this was developed by Nintendo themselves and released in 2003. I haven't given this a try yet, but I'm aware that it's basically a successor to the 1080 snowboarding games on the Nintendo 64. But otherwise, there's not much else to say. But I know my friend Ultra 64 Fan Ones really love this game, so yeah, definitely think of giving it a try in the near future. Okay, next up we have a few All-Star Baseball games. We have 2002 right here, 2003 featuring Derek Jeter. Probably pronounced their last name wrong. Oh yeah, and 2004, which is also featuring Derek Jeter. But 2002 is actually very special to me on the GameCube, All-Star Baseball 2002. First of all, it's one of the launch titles for the system. But also, I actually have memories of playing this with my stepbrothers. I was actually kind of forced to play this, so it's not positive memories necessarily, but I remember the music being really good, like in the main menu and such. So if there's one positive takeaway from that, it was that. I thought the music was good in the main menu, but otherwise I didn't care for it because I feel like I was being forced to play. Like basically, like even my stepmom would force me to kind of play with them, and that just made me dislike the game more. So yeah, it wasn't exactly a positive experience. I mean, like not force me as in like duct tape me to the chair or anything like that, but still it was just it was major peer pressure essentially. They thought I would like it just because they were raising me as a boy or something. I don't know. So yeah, there's that. Next up we have the original Animal Crossing for the GameCube. Originally released as Animal Forest on the Nintendo 64 exclusively in Japan, but then they brought it to the GameCube and released it internationally. I also have the memory card that comes with it as well, so yeah, good stuff. But otherwise, I actually did start playing this a little bit, just out of curiosity to see how it was, and it was pretty interesting from what I've played so far. But yeah, interested to give it another try in the future. But otherwise, yeah, there's not much else to say for, at least on my behalf. So yeah, moving on. I'm not quite sure what to think of this one yet, but this is the Ant Bully on the GameCube. Okay, so here's the thing about the movie. I liked it when I watched it back in the day, like back in 2006 when it came out, and I was, 11-year-old boy in middle school, and yeah, I liked it back then. But nowadays, looking back on it, I don't know why I liked it. I don't know what I saw in that movie, because I can only look on that movie with cringe, basically. Like, I just cannot watch it without cringing, essentially, because I just do not like it. But as for the game, I've tried a little bit. It's just okay from what I played so far. I'm kind of curious to see how it goes afterwards, and obviously I'll have to eventually do an LP on it, because, me being a licensed LP, or basically, like, licensed game Let's Player of sorts. But yeah, good old Nicolas Cage is all I can say. Oh yeah, I guess I should point out that I also have the free movie voucher this comes with. Even though I didn't have this back in the day, I just got this at a at a game store like a couple years ago. Actually, I think I might have showed this in the last video. I could be wrong, but yeah, it says expires September 30th, 2006. So yeah. But I probably showed this in the video last year, actually. This one I definitely did not have last year, and this was Avatar: The Last Airbender on the GameCube. This is the only one of the Avatar games that made it to the GameCube, because this was in 2006, so by then the GameCube was, this was the last year of the GameCube, basically, so... I mean, there were games that came out for it on 2007, but definitely not the second Avatar game, so... Just the first one. Moving on to the Bs, we obviously have the one you all know, Barnyard. The copy that I played back in 2011 for the Let's Play at the time, and the original disc too, because I figure you might want to see that again. So yeah, good stuff. It's Barnyard, so what else can I say that I haven't already said before? Next up, based off the 2005 film of the same name, we have Batman Begins. Not much to say on this yet because I haven't played much of it yet, but from what I have played, it's basically your standard or typical superhero slash Batman game where it starts you off with just you're fighting your way through an asylum, basically. Well, I can't remember if it was an asylum or not, but basically like you're in a burning building, you're trying to... I honestly couldn't remember like all the details like around the beginning of the movie, but beginning of the game, because actually I don't remember if I saw the movie or not. Actually, it's been way too long, but either way, it is what it is. So I'm sure I'll give it more of a try in the future. So you might not know this, but there were actually a few Call of Duty games on the GameCube. We have Call of Duty Finest Hour and Call of Duty 2, the Big Red One, which was on all these 6th-gen consoles. So yeah, it's kind of surprising to know that there were Call of Duty games on the GameCube, but there were. But yeah, it's surprising they don't take up much space on the memory card either. Only 5 blocks for Finest Hour and 2 blocks for the Big Red One. So I thought they would take up more space on the memory card, but no. So that's kind of interesting. And I believe one or both of these has widescreen capabilities, which was pretty rare for a GameCube game, actually. Okay, this one I definitely had since it came out. This is Cars on the GameCube. I recently beat the Cars game, I think last year or the year before, one of the two. And yeah, pretty meh. But I'm pretty sure I already said that last year. Next up we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So haven't played much of this yet. But interestingly enough, apparently the disc is brown. I'll show you. Like, I wonder why they made the disc brown. Like, are they supposed to, like, be referencing poop or something? Like, is this what, like, seriously, why are they doing this? Why are they making the disc poop brown? Like, that makes no sense. It just makes no sense, like, whatsoever. Next up, we have one of the best titles on the GameCube, Charlie's Angels. I mean, like, if you don't have Charlie's Angels, then you are not a true collector of GameCube games, let me tell you, folks. But that doesn't compare to probably my favorite game that I collected recently, actually, and probably definitely the one that I'm most proud of, essentially. The addition to my collection that I'm most proud of, basically. We have Chibi Robo. So I've heard a lot about this game, and I plugged into the game as soon as I got it the same day, and I was pretty impressed with what I played through so far. The gameplay is very unique and very interesting, so it's something I'm definitely gonna have to look into more and definitely consider doing a Let's Play of. But I just love this little guy so much, and I love how the instruction booklet and the disc itself are blue to match with each other. Of course, it's not the only GameCube game that's like that, but still. Next up, we have Disney's Chicken Little. I think I showed you this last year, so moving on. Next up, we have another game that I'm pretty sure I showed you last year. We have Codename Kids Next Door Operation Video Game, so there's that. Okay, now we have the Crash Bandicoot games I already had before, which are Wrath of Cortex and Crash Tag Team Racing. I still don't have Nitro Kart yet, unfortunately. I think that's the only other GameCube Crash game, but I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure, though. Next up, we have Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. I still have yet to get the dance pad for this, and I mean, I think you could still play this with a GameCube controller, but definitely I'd rather play this with an action pad if I can get one, so I'll save it for that. But in the meantime, yep, I have it. Next up, we have one of the GameCube launch titles I think I showed you before. This is Disney's Tarzan Untamed. So, yeah. You can tell, it's actually kind of easy to tell if a GameCube game is a launch title because it will just say memory card on the back. Like, it'll just say memory card. It won't say how many blocks it requires, just memory card. So that's kind of funny. Just memory card. So what does that mean? I don't know. Just memory card. Next up, we have the 3 Donkey Kong games that we got international. Well, I don't know about internationally, but here in the US at least, on the GameCube, we have Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, Donkey Konga, and Donkey Konga 2. And I do have the DK Bongos, so I can play all three of these games. I don't know if they're required to play all three of these games, but yeah. Well, I can't imagine how you played Donkey Konga with a regular controller, that's for sure. Next up, we have two games that I know I didn't show you last year because I actually just got these not too long ago, like I think about a week or so ago. These are Dragon Ball Z Budokai and Dragon Ball Z Sagas. So Budokai, I know for sure, is a fighting game, essentially, featuring Dragon Ball Z characters. I know they made a sequel, Budokai 2. I think it is also on the GameCube, but there's also Budokai Tenkaichi 3, if I can pronounce it right, on the Wii. But yeah, I know that the Budokai series is about is basically their fighting games, kind of like Street Fighter and whatnot, just like your typical traditional fighting games, essentially, with Dragon Ball Z characters. But Sagas, on the other hand, is more of an action game, from what I can see on the artwork on the back, basically. But yeah, I'm not a Dragon Ball Z fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm so glad to own these games because they look pretty good in the collection. But also looking forward to trying them out with friends too. Next up, we have a game that I'm pretty sure I showed you last year. This is Enter the Matrix, based off the Matrix franchise. This is the first 2-disc game I have in my collection, the first 2-disc GameCube game. So there's a couple of these I have, actually. Well, actually, at least 3 of them, I do believe. Okay, so this is another very special entry to my collection, beyond Chibi Robo. And this is F-Zero GX. But here's something that's very different about this one. This is actually still sealed in the shrink wrap. Like, no joke. I bought this for $250 at a used game store, and it is still currently, as I'm holding right now, in the original shrink wrap. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I actually wanted to open this on screen, just to show for the fact that when I originally owned this copy, it was in the shrink wrap. So, which is crazy, because again, F-Zero GX came out like, what, 2004, I think? Or 2003. Yeah, 2003. This game's been sitting in its shrink wrap for at least like 15 years or so, like at least 15, because like 15 would have been like 2007. So that's basically that's just an assumption of mine, because like obviously they still sold the game for a few years afterwards. So I would have to imagine, like, there's no way someone bought this game right when it came out and then just left it in the shrink wrap, and not play it. That'd be ridiculous. But maybe 2007 or 2006, I don't know. But either way, 15 years for this game to be in someone's collection and somehow end up at a game store in the shrink wrap is just insane. But either way, regardless, I'm about to, unfortunately, devalue it down to probably just $100 or so by removing it from the shrink wrap. But I wanted to do this on video so I could, have it be on record that it was originally in the shrink wrap. So that's why I waited this long to open it, if I can find my skizzers. Oh, there they are over there. Using these skizzers right here that I just found lying around, we are about to devalue this and subtract the price down to about half of what it is. You ready? I broke it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I cut straight through it with the scissors in just one fell swoop now. But yeah, I really wanted to open this and wanted to see what it looks like on the inside. But this hurts doing this, I know. It's so hard. Like, it hurts so much doing this. Like, I swear. Like, I wanted to keep this in the shrink wrap so badly. Just to tell people who come by that I have a mint copy of F-Zero GX, and then to look at me and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you just play it? And they'll be like, because I don't want to devalue. I don't want to bring down the value. But no, it must come off eventually. No game is meant to be left sealed forever. Like, there's just no. Anyone who thinks that is just wrong. Just plain wrong. Okay, there it is. It's got that new game smell on it still. Jeez, like, have you ever seen a GameCube case this glossy before? Not in a long time, probably. It's just so glossy. It just feels so nice. This is ridiculous, but I just couldn't help doing this. There it is. This is what it looks like as you open it for the very first time, a copy of F-Zero GX. It's got the Nintendo Power offer on the front, of course. And so what I always do is I take that to put it behind the instruction booklet, but I'll keep the precautions booklet on the back, so, like so. I can't really smell much anyways, because my nose is kind of stuffed up today. But yeah, there it is, F-Zero GX. This is actually the most recent first-party Nintendo game I got. Or is it first-party? Pretty sure it was, yeah. Nintendo Amusement Division. Sega? Really? Sega worked on this? That'd be quite a twist, because F-Zero is one of Nintendo's properties. Huh. The future of racing. Race for glory in the Grand Prix Cups. Speed through an incredible storyline as Captain Falcon. Take on up to 3 friends. Build and customize your own machine. Challenge your time ghosts, and much more. Steer through danger with the Logitech Speed Force steering wheel. Powered by force feedback technology. Sold separate. Oh! They made a steering wheel for this game too? And it says memory card uses 4+ blocks. I wonder what that means. I think it said something like that with Animal Crossing too. 30 pilots, 20 courses, and 1 champion. But yeah, this was the last console F-Zero game. Isn't that crazy? But there it is. There you have it. Next up, we have another recent addition to my GameCube library. We have a Fantastic Four. I'm not a big superhero fan like my dad is, but still. The thing is, recently, ever since I've kind of gone just as obsessed with collecting GameCube games as I have Wii U games. I don't have any illusions of owning the entire GameCube library. I think there's like 550 something. But nevertheless, I've gone just as obsessed with collecting GameCube games as I have Wii U games, despite the fact that I don't plan on owning the entire GameCube library. But I just like having GameCube games. I don't know why, because they just have extra appeal to me because they're hard to find, I guess, basically. Because you don't see them as much as you do Xbox and PS2 games in the stores, but still. I just love collecting them, what can I say? Next up, a GameCube game that needs no introduction. I did a Let's Play of this a few years ago. It's Breaking the Rules, Fairly Odd Parents. Ooh, Butch Harbor. Butch Harbor, are you serious? Butch Hartman. More like Butch Fartman. I think I showed you this last year. This is a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I might not have shown you this last year, but if I didn't, here it is. I got this at my library. So yay! Another fun addition that I got a couple of years ago. We have Finding Nemo. Actually, I'm more familiar with the Game Boy Advance title, but still, the console version is also pretty good as far as licensed Pixar games goes. It was made by Traveler's Tales. The same people made Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex, which I was actually a fan of, unlike most people. But I think they did a pretty good job on this one, too. Okay, next up we have another rare title in the GameCube collection. We have Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I actually just got this a few months ago, and it was $250. So this is one of the more rare titles to own as far as the GameCube games goes, which makes sense. It's Fire Emblem, so not a lot of people are... it's a bit more of an obscure... franchise that less people are into, but although people are starting to warm up to it more, especially on the Switch, so yeah, definitely want this if you're a big Fire Emblem fan, and hopefully eventually I'll get there. Flushed Away, one I definitely had since the movie came out back in 2006 and haven't played much of, so nothing more to say on that. So this is definitely not a title I showed you last year, but it's definitely one that I had to pick up as soon as I saw in the store because I knew Nintendo had a hand in making this game, or at least they published it, but yeah, it was developed by N-Space, but this is Geist. It's basically like your person who's had their their spirits separate from their body, and they can possess like other people, animals, and objects basically. So it's a very unique, interesting game that Nintendo doesn't really talk about like at all these days. But it's definitely a worthy addition to any GameCube collection. Next up, we have Happy Feet. No introduction to this one. I did a Let's Play of this way back in the day, and I don't have the movie ticket anymore because I used it, I guess. I'd have to assume. But yeah, nothing else to say. Next up, I have 3 Harvest Moon games to share with you. We have Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. Harvest Moon, Another Wonderful Life. This one I believe is the exactly the same as A Wonderful Life, except you get to play as a girl in this one. That's pretty much the only difference. From what I've heard, I could be wrong. And then we have a Magical Melody. But yeah, that's the order they were released in, so that's why I showed them in that order, basically. Okay, next up we have Disney's The Haunted Mansion. This is another one of those games that came with, one of those licensed movie games that came with the Movie Pass. But, yeah, unfortunately I don't have it, but still, it's quite a... Wait, do I? Oh, well, I have a stub of it, actually. Yeah, I don't have the pass itself, but I have, like, the stub that it was attached to. So, yeah, there's that. So, yeah, guess I kind of have it. Next up we have 2003's Hulk, developed by Universal Interactive Studios production. Well, not developed, but published. Okay, this is one of those games I'd actually just picked up like a week ago. This is Ice Age 2 The Meltdown. Ice Age 2 Meltdown, my story with that movie is pretty much the same as Ant Bully, except I don't still hate this movie. I just don't like it as much. I don't hate it as much as I do Ant Bully, so there's that, if anything. I do know that Ice Age is now owned by Disney, and they recently made a 6th movie about Buck, so that's kind of interesting and kind of stupid at the same time. I can already tell I'm not going to like it when I watch it, but I still got marathon like all the other Ice Age movies first. I've seen the first 4, I did not see the 5th one, and I know the 6th one's going to be bad, but I'm kind of curious to see the 5th and 6th one, but first got a marathon the first 4 since I now have Disney Plus, so I can do that. Next up, we have the 2 games released based off the Incredibles film. We have the game based off the original film, basically. And then we have the follow-up game, which is The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer. I showed this to you last year, though, so that needs no introduction. James Bond 007, I showed you Agent Under Fire last year, but I did not show you Everything or Nothing last year, because I now have this. So I now have all 3 of the Jimmy Neutron games on GameCube. We have the one based off the original film, Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. The 2001 film, I think it was. That's when it came out. But the game came out in 2002. And this was developed by Blue Sky Interactive, the same people who made the SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman game on console, which I was a big fan of, so I'm interested to try this out, actually, maybe for a Let's Play Blind or something. Let me know if you're interested in that. Next up, we have Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius Jet Fusion, based off the Jet Fusion special in 2003? Yeah, 2003. And then, of course, Attack of the Twonkies, which I think I already had for a while now, so I might have showed that to you last year. But, yeah, all 3 of the Jimmy Neutron games on GameCube, so that's good. Next up, we have a game that needs no introduction. Is Kirby Air Ride. This is one of my personal favorites on the GameCube as far as exclusives go. I just love this game so much. It's as far as racing games go. Like, I prefer this over most Mario Kart games, actually, honestly. So, I think it's really good. So we have a Spyro game here. We have The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning. So this is the start of the Legend of Spyro trilogy, essentially. And this is the only one that graced the GameCube. But I don't know too much about this trilogy, though, so I haven't tried it yet. Okay, next up we have 5 Zelda games that were released across the GameCube's lifespan. First, we had a port of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And it was, it's a 2-game bonus disc, because it came with the Master Quest separately, basically, where you could, well, I don't know much about the Master Quest, obviously, because I haven't played through Ocarina of Time yet, but, yeah, basically this is what we got first on the GameCube, I think the same year as Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which was the big main Zelda game on the GameCube, essentially. Big gay Zelda game on the GameCube. But yeah, I love this game. This is a very special Zelda game to me because this is the one that I put the most time and love into as a kid. I never had my own copy growing up. I always had my brother had one, and from 2017 up until now, I've been borrowing a copy from Corsair Joe as I did for the 2017 Let's Play, which I never finished, obviously. But now I have my own copy of the game, which is not Player's Choice. Corsair Joe's copy is Player's Choice, so definitely not trying to brag or anything. Then after that, we got this one called Zelda Collector's Edition. This comes with 4 Zelda games. It includes the original Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. So now you have 2 copies, like 2 GameCube discs with Ocarina of Time on them. Like, how crazy is that? What does a disc like? Oh, like that. Okay. It's just so cool looking at the discs for these games too. Next up, we have Four Swords Adventures. The first, well, not the first co-op Zelda game, but because there was Zelda Four Swords plus, what was it, Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance, I do believe. And that came before that, but yeah, then there was Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube, and then finally, in 2007, there was, or 2006 actually, or, was it 07? Is I think in 07? No? I guess not, it says 06, but yeah, 2006 we got Twilight Princess, which was simultaneously a launch title for the Wii, but also the last Nintendo published Zelda game on the GameCube as well. So, yeah, there's your 5 Zelda games on GameCube. This is currently the only Lego game I have on GameCube, and this is Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. And it is also one of the more recent titles I just picked up, although the cover art's kind of damaged a little bit, so it's kind of rocky, but it still looks pretty decent, at least the spine does. Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I definitely showed you this one last year, so moving on. Title that I just picked up last week, this is Looney Tunes Back in Action. So another one I picked up to kind of fill out the library, but also just because, hey, I like the Looney Tunes growing up, so why not? Why not pick up their games? Next up, we do have the launch title for the GameCube that needs an introduction, but not from me, obviously. Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, nothing more I can say about this I haven't said already, so. Great game. I loved having it as my first Let's Play, so moving on. Next up we have Madagascar. Now I showed you my copy of this game last year, but that was a player's choice copy. This is a non-player's choice copy, which I picked up not too long ago, about about a month ago or so. I don't remember. Like, I know it was recent though, but here's the thing, I actually kept my player's choice copy, and I'll show you at the end of this video why. So moving on. Okay, we reached this point. This is the main event of the video, folks. We have all 7 of the Madden games on GameCube. Now, this kind of it deserves a bit of an explanation, because I ain't a fan of football, not in the slightest whatsoever. I don't give a damn about football. I know my dad does. He can talk all day about it, but I personally don't care. But here's the thing: there's actually 2 reasons why I started picking up the Madden games. And one of them is Scott the Woz, and the others because John Madden recently passed away. So, I mean, I love video games, and he's kind of a part of them essentially. Like, he's a gaming icon at this point because of his Madden series. So, I figured why not. But yeah, mainly because I started watching Scott the Woz, and yeah, it's his fault that I'm into Madden games. Okay, so blame him. But yeah, we have 2002. 2003, 2004, 2005, 06, 07, and finally Madden 08, which is actually the last game that was ever released on the GameCube. Madden 08, back in August 2007. So, as Scott the Woz would say it, a very high note to end on. Actually, how did he put it? Like, he said the prophecy was true or something like that? It was something along those lines. Also, I guess I should point out, 2002 was one of the launch titles, because it just says memory card on the back there. So, yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Also, these games require a shit ton of space on memory cards. And the amount goes up with each game, except for 2005 and 06, they're probably the same amount of space. But, yeah, 2002 it doesn't say, because, again, just memory cards, so you can, for all we know, it could be, like, 1 block for a Madden game. But, yeah, 2003 requires 59 blocks, so that's your entire memory card that Nintendo got for you, that comes with the system itself. It's 59 blocks or whatever. this entire game takes up one of those memory cards. And then 2004, 185 blocks. Like, seriously, what the hell happened? 59 blocks to 185? But then 2005, it goes down to 167 for some reason. And then 06 has the same amount, 167. But then 07 is 173 blocks. So it goes back, it starts to go back up again. And finally, Madden 08 takes 181 blocks. So there's your fun facts for today. I had so much to say about these Madden games that I haven't said about the other games in this entire video, and I have no idea why. Why do I have so much to say about the Madden games, but not the other games I've had so far in this video? I don't even play these. Like, what the hell, dude? I didn't have this last year. I collected more of the first-party Nintendo titles, or actually second-party, because this was by Camelot, but Mario Golf Toadstool Tour on GameCube. So, yeah, I got pretty much all the sports games, I do believe, on game. Pretty much. Actually, I think I have all the first. Well, not all the first-party Nintendo titles, but most of the main Mario, Zelda, Kirby. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Link stuff. Yeah, like all that. I have all that. I have all that. So yeah, Mario Kart Double Dash, one of my favorite Mario Karts out there. I've already mentioned this before. I wish I could play this. I'm definitely interested in playing this online with friends. I know it's possible to do that with some hacking and emulation, but yeah, I'm hoping we'll be able to do that someday soon. We have Mario Party 4, Mario Party 5. Okay, I lied, I don't have all the Marios. I'm missing Mario Party 6, so here we are, Mario Party 7. Yep, that's the one I'm missing, the one Mario game I'm missing on the GameCube. It's Mario Party 6, okay? So don't come at me. Mario Power Tennis. And Mario Superstar Baseball. Of course, a big addition to anyone's GameCube library, we have Mary-Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 License to Drive. Yeah, you probably didn't notice, but I'm a big fan of Mary-Kate and Ashley. I remember loving them so much in Zoe 101. Okay, next up we have a couple Medal of Honor games. We have Frontline, which I did multiplayer Madness stuff with my friends back in 2012. This is not the Player's Choice copy I had back then, though. This is the new one that replaced it, so yeah, there's that. But there's also another Medal of Honor game. We have Rising Sun here, so yay, good stuff. Next up we have Meet the Robinsons, now in a legit GameCube case now, so looking much more snazzy. Next up we have Mega Man Anniversary Collection containing Mega Mans 1 through 8. So, yeah, I'm going to have a way of playing all 8 of the original Mega Man games on the GameCube. Well, actually, it says 10. Oh, 10 on one disc. So is what's the 2 that's never... Okay, I'm pretty sure one of them was, whatchamacallit, Mega Man and Bass, or whatever it's called. I don't know what the 10th one is. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, otherwise I also have a Mega Man X Command Mission. I don't know if this is a exclusive or not, but yeah, this is another one on the G-Cube. Halfway done here, folks. We have the 2 Metroid Prime titles. We have Prime 1 and 2. As you can see here, I got a regular copy of Prime without the Echoes bonus disc, but I kept the copy that has the bonus disc, so I have 2 copies of Metroid Prime 1 now, basically. Okay, next up we have Minority Report, which is, I believe, based off a film from that year. 2002 or something like that. It says DreamWorks on it, so they had some involvement in the game, but I don't think it was a DreamWorks movie, was it? From the creators of the Spider-Man video. Oh, okay, so same people made the Spider-Man video game also made this too. Okay. Next up we have Sega Sports NBA 2K2. So Sega Sports games that were still coming out shortly after the Dreamcast was went defunct, but yeah, they made it onto the GameCube. Okay, next up we have NBA Courtside 2002, which was I guess Nintendo's version of the Sega Sports thing. I don't know. Basically, Nintendo themselves got the NBA game at the same year as Sega did. Okay, next up we have 4 Need for Speed games. We have Hot Pursuit 2, the one that I'm most familiar with, but yeah, this version sucks. The PS2 version's the good one. We have Underground. We have its sequel, Underground 2, which is more open world, and Corso Joe was kind of telling me about this game. I'm really excited to try this one out. And finally, Most Wanted. Okay, next up we have a couple Nickelodeon games. We have a Nickelodeon Party Blast, which I believe is Mario Party-esque. So imagine Mario Party with Nickelodeon characters, and it looks kind of bleh. So this will be interesting to try when we get around to it. I would actually prefer to try this with friends, honestly, so I don't see myself playing this by myself. No way, no how. And then we have Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island, which I've shown before, so moving on. So a couple movie license games here. We have Open Season from Sony Pictures, the Sony Pictures film. And again, did I have the, I can't remember if I had the thing for it or not. Nope, I don't have the movie voucher, but whatever. And of course, Over the Hedge, which never even came with the movie voucher, but yeah, we did a Multiplayer Madness of this back in 2015, so good times, good times. Okay, next up we have a few Pac-Man games on the GameCube. We have Pac-Man Fever, which is Pac-Man's take on Mario Party, which sucked, from what I heard. That's what people are saying. So, don't quote me on that. Pac-Man World 2, which is a platformer, a 3D platformer for Pac-Man. And a racing game, Pac-Man World Rally. So, yeah. Yeah, it says Race is one of 14 beloved classic Namco characters, so... A lot of these are, like, not necessarily Pac-Man focused, but more so Namco focused with Pac-Man in the center, I guess. I don't know. Okay, next up we have 3 legendary titles for the GameCube. We have Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. So I love this game so much. It's my favorite RPG of all time. Next to Xenoblade Chronicles X, of course, but... And then we have the Pikmin titles. We have Pikmin and Pikmin 2. I fucking love Pikmin 2 so much. It's my favorite, one of my favorite games of all time. So, just legendary games in general. Pikmin, the original Pikmin game is also a lot of fun. I would play the original Pikmin game as preparation for any Pikmin 2 playthrough. So, yeah, I just love all 3 of these games so much. I will be saying that to my grave, essentially. Back to another movie licensed title. We have The Polar Express. So, not much more to say on that. I saw the movie again for the first time in quite a while, like a few months ago, like when winter was kind of starting. It was a good time to see it, but still, this movie hasn't aged that well because of its motion tracking CG or whatever it's called. So it's kind of jarring because of that. Rampage Total Destruction is one of those titles I picked up recently, like a week ago actually, and yeah, nothing else to say. Nothing to say on it yet because I haven't played it yet. I'm assuming it's just one of those games where you play as giant monsters and you roam through a city or something like that. I think that's pretty fair assumption to make on it, honestly. Pixar's Ratatouille. I loved me some Ratatouille. That was a fantastic film that came out back in the day, and the game was actually pretty fun too, from what I could recall. But next up we have a couple Resident Evil games. We have a port of the original Resident Evil, which is a 2-disc game. As I mentioned before, there's a couple 2-disc games on the GameCube. And this is one of those. So yeah, it's a port of the PS1 game, the original Resident Evil. And Resident Evil 4. So those are currently the 2 Resident Evil games I have on GameCube. I know there's more, though. I know there's an exclusive actually called Resident Evil 0, so that'll be interesting as well to pick up. Okay, we have some more licensed titles. We have Robots, which I think I showed last year, so... enough on that. As well as Rocket Power Beach Bandits, the one game based off that show. Rocky, based off the films from the way back in the day. Yeah, from 1976 to 2002. Well, 2002 is when the game came out, but still. And a Rugrats game, Rugrats Royal Ransom. Shadow the Hedgehog. Happy to own this. Don't know if I want to play it, though, because I've heard some things about this game. It's one of those types of games. SeaWorld Adventure Park's Sean's Deep Sea Adventures. Who the hell is Sean the Orca? I have no idea. I know nothing about this orca. I'm assuming that was a name of an orca that happened to be at SeaWorld. But I think since SeaWorld does not adopt orcas, thankfully, at least from what I've heard. I hope that is true. I'm pretty sure it is, but yeah. Nothing more to say on that. More licensed games. We have the very bad Shark Tale movie-based game, which is probably just as bad. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. Next up, we have the mandatory Shrek games that everyone must own on the GameCube. We have Shrek Super Party, which is a Mario Party-esque, an ogreific party game for up to 4 players. We have Shrek 2, which people have been trying to get me to try out on my live stream, so I have this for when that does happen. And then we have Shrek Super Slam, which is actually a pretty decent fighting game, so yeah, it definitely gave Smash Bros. A run for its money back in the day. And of course, Simpsons Hit and Run. You have to own this on GameCube as well, because this is a fantastic title. It does support wide progressive scan, so it looks pretty good on GameCube, but I would still recommend getting this on Xbox instead, though, if you happen to have an Xbox. Moving right along, we have The Sims 2 on GameCube. This is actually the first game from the Sims franchise that I ever owned, actually, and it's on GameCube, and it requires 147 blocks. Jeez. You know, I'm really glad I have that memory card with, like, about 2,000-ish blocks on it, because it's going to be very handy for, you know, having all these games on it, but I don't see myself playing a lot of these. Like The Sims 2, you know, again, I'm not a huge Sims fan, so I don't see myself playing this too much. Next up, we have 4 of these Sonic games that were released on GameCube. I don't have all of them, but these are just some of them, basically. We have the GameCube port of Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. And then we have my personal favorite, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Yeah, I always loved this game growing up, and I look forward to eventually getting around to really, actually really getting into it and giving it a thorough look, basically. Sonic Heroes. This is a recent pickup, not too long ago. I think like sometime last year or something. And then finally, the one I've had the longest, Sonic Riders, even though I never really cared for it, but this is the Player's Choice copy. This is the only Player's Choice game. Actually, no, this is one of 2 Player's Choice copies I have yet to replace, so yeah, still working on finding a non-Player's Choice copy somewhere in the wild. Next up, we have the GameCube port of Soul Calibur 2. This is the version that features Link as a playable character. Otherwise, it's just a standard fighting game as far as I know. Interestingly enough, it says memory card uses 1 file, comma 4 blocks. It usually doesn't say that, it just says how many blocks, but whatever. Alright, next up, moving on to Spider-Man, we have the two movie-based games for the Tobey Maguire movies. Basically, we have Spider-Man, the original 2002 Tobey Maguire film, and then the sequel, Spider-Man 2. Now, I haven't played either of these, but from what I've heard, Spider-Man 2 is basically, it has the open worlds style gameplay that I guess would eventually be perfected in the 2018 Insomnia Spider-Man game. So I'm very interested in trying this one out if it really is an open world sort of game like that. Next up, as usual, the 5 SpongeBob games released on GameCube. In case you don't know, they are Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, a personal favorite of mine that I always loved. Battle for Bikini Bottom, a fan favorite that everybody loves. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, everybody loves this game as well, although not as much as Battle for Bikini Bottom. Lights, Camera Pants, a well-beloved Mario Party clone, basically, that a lot of people seem to like, but I haven't tried out myself yet, at least as much. I played the Xbox version a little bit, which is the same, basically. And also Creature from the Krusty Krab, which I also like. I don't mind this game. But it's definitely the weakest of the 5 games. Okay, next up we have the 2 successors to the original Spyro trilogy that were on the original PlayStation. So these were not being made by Insomnia, but still these were attempts to revive the series after Insomnia left the series, basically. So we have Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, or unofficially known as Spyro 4, basically. And this game gets a lot of hate, but I haven't tried it out myself, so I can't say whether or not I hate it myself. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to at least giving it a try, because basically this is the Spyro equivalent to Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, and I really liked that game. So, you know, and everybody else didn't like it, so maybe this will be the same case here. And then we have Spyro: A Hero's Tale. So this one's a bit more well beloved, and this is also unofficially known as Spyro 5, as well as the 5th mainline game. And now we have the 2 Star Fox games released on the GameCube. We have Star Fox Adventures, which was as everyone knows, this is the last game that Rare developed with Nintendo before moving over to Microsoft's Xbox. As you can see here, I actually recently, since last year, I got a non-player's choice copy as well as the instruction booklet. So, yeah, we got a nice complete CIB regular copy here. Also, Star Fox Adventure is also worth noting that this is one of the few widescreen GameCube games, and this is the only second-party Nintendo game that has widescreen functionality. So that's pretty cool. But also we have Star Fox Assault, which is a lot of fun with its multiplayer, that's for sure, but haven't done much of the single-player myself in a long time, that's for sure. Okay, so next up we have actually a couple Star Wars games. We have Star Wars Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2. And this is one of the launch titles for the GameCube. As you can see, it's got the, just regular memory card sign right here, so it doesn't say how many blocks. So you can tell it's a launch title for the GameCube as usual. And then we have Star Wars Rebel Strike Rogue Squadron 3, which is a sequel to that one. So, pretty cool stuff. Next up we have Super Mario Strikers. Thought we were done with the Mario sports games, huh? Well, nope, we still have this one too. And I haven't tried this yet, but this is basically Mario's take on soccer, as well as Mario Strikers Charged on Wii. And most recently, Nintendo announced a third Mario Strikers game for the Nintendo Switch, so that'll be fun to check out. And, of course, Super Mario Sunshine. How can I not show off this game? Because I love it to pieces. Even with all that blue coin collecting, I still love that game. And I honestly like the blue coin collecting myself, because I've, after memorizing where they all are, it's actually kind of fun to go around collecting them, because it's pretty much, for me, at that point, it's the same as just getting all 100 coins, basically. So I just kind of do this both at once, so yeah, it's fun to play it every summer. I still do to this very day. Super Monkey Ball. This is one of the launch titles for the GameCube, actually, the original Super Monkey Ball made by Sega. I don't have much experience with the Super Monkey Ball series. In fact, actually, I don't think I've even put in any of these games quite yet, but I know there's a Monkey Ball like gameplay minigame in Tower Unite, which was a PC game that's me and the rest of we played a lot back in over the summer last year, and we haven't played it in quite a while. But one of the things you can do in that game is actually play a minigame, which is basically the same as Super Monkey Ball, where you're basically in a ball and you're rolling around through stages. So it's kind of fun like that. And then we have the sequel, Super Monkey Ball 2, which is the other Player's Choice copy I have yet to replace. But yeah, I got the original 2. I don't have Adventure yet, but that's the one Super Monkey Ball game I'm missing on GameCube. We have another fan favorite here. This is Super Smash Bros. Melee, a game that I also love to pieces. A game that I also love to pieces, but maybe not so much as Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I still love that game as well. Actually, I don't know. I think I love it just as much. I love all the Super Smash Bros. Games equally, actually. So, yeah, just a fantastic game overall. So I didn't know at the time, but this is also one of the last games ever released on the GameCube before Madden 08. This is Surf's Up, based off the 2007 film of the same name, which I played very little of, but I saw the movie and I thought it was okay. I definitely liked it back then, that's for sure. I have not seen the sequel, though, and I don't think I want to, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Next up, we have 3 of the TAC games on GameCube. Well, these are the only 3 that are released on GameCube, but it's not all of them. I believe there's one other game that's on PS2 and Wii. Now, interestingly enough, THQ Nordic mentioned they would be reviving this series. I don't know what they mean by that. Like, they mentioned that before they released Battle from Keep On Rehydrated, so I'm not sure what they mean by that. Like, if they're going to make remasters or sequels or something, I don't know. But I'd like to try these games out at some point to find out how good they are. So you have the original Tak and the Power of Juju. This is the original game on GameCube. And then we have the sequel, Tak 2, The Staff of Dreams. And then the third game, which is Tak the Great Juju Challenge. So what the hell these games are about, I have no idea, but I'm interested to try them out in the future. Tales of Symphonia by Namco, released in 2001. And, well, actually 2003. Never mind, 2003. And supposedly an RPG of sorts I know very little about, but I know I've heard that people talk about it a lot, at least. So I think it's like a popular game, at least. And yeah, it says over 80 hours of gameplay, so I can already tell this is like a JRPG of sorts that would probably take even twice that long for me to beat, honestly. Okay, I think I picked this one like up just because I saw it because it looked cool. Taz Wanted. So this is obviously a Looney Tunes game of sort, but that's pretty much all I know. I don't know much about the gameplay itself. Next up, we have Tetris Worlds on the GameCube. I think this is on all three of the 6th-gen consoles, but it's probably quite different or something. I know the cover art is different on each of these games. I can show you with the spines once I show the other two off. But yeah, this is the GameCube one with only 4 blocks of space for the memory card. So yeah. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon on the GameCube. It's one of the earlier Tom Clancy games, which of course some people know much about Tom Clancy, including myself. So yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which was simultaneously a launch title for the GameCube, and I think the last game ever released on the Nintendo 64, or was that Pro Skater 4? No, I think it was Pro Skater 4 that was the last game on the 64. One of the two was, definitely. Next up, we have Turok Evolution, which was not very well received from what I've looked at with the reviews. Only 1 block of space on the memory card, too. But yeah, I played the PS2 version a little bit growing up, if I haven't already told the story, which I probably did, so... one thing I will say also is that I really love the disc art, too. It looks really cool. You know? There's one thing they put effort in with this game, it's definitely the disc art, that's for sure. So despite all this time that has passed, I still only have one of the Thai games on GameCube. Still only just Thai 2, Bush Rescue. I don't have the first one or the third one. I still haven't seen them yet in stores, like, since that video I did last year, which is really crazy. Next up, we have another Spider-Man game. We have Ultimate Spider-Man on the GameCube, and for some reason, this title was worth $50 used. So it must be a very special title that I don't know much about, but yeah, at least I have it in my collection now. Alright, here we have another launch title. This is Universal Theme Park Studios, or Universal Studios Theme Parks Adventure. But yeah, another one of the launch titles, and not a very good one because we got an AVGN review out of it, so you can tell from what we saw in that review that this is a pretty bad one, unfortunately. Actually, to be fair, I shouldn't judge it based off an internet review that I saw. I'm sure maybe it's good if I were to give it a try. Maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe it is actually bad, but maybe... I don't know. I'll find out eventually. Here we have Wallace and Gromit and Project Zoo. I probably showed this to you last year, but yeah, here it is. There was no GameCube version of the... From what I saw, I don't think the game based off the 2005 film was ever on the GameCube, but yeah, from what I recall, this is the only Wallace and Gromit game on the GameCube, which came before the movie, interestingly enough. So as you can see, I now have a CIB copy of Wario World, which is my own copy. It's not my... I still have the copy of Wario World that I borrowed from a friend that I need to return, so... But in the meantime, I now have my own copy, so I can safely say I have it now. But also, not too long ago, I picked up the other Wario game that's on GameCube, and that is WarioWare Mega Party Games. So, a collection of mini games of sorts, basically. So, look forward to trying this out, hopefully with friends. But Wario World will always be my jam, and always be one of my favorite 3D platformers, and probably the only game of the Wario series I'm familiar with, besides... I played a little bit of Virtual Boy Wario Land, as I told you before, though, so I don't know. Alright, so this is the last of the launch titles I have on GameCube. This is Wave Race Blue Storm. This is also developed by Nintendo, I do believe, as well as, yeah, it's one of the launch titles that Nintendo made for the system, basically, to show off the power of the GameCube. So we got that instead of another Pilot Wings game, sadly. Then we have X-Men Legends, which is the last game I have, actually. So there's that. So yeah, like about 160-ish games. I don't know. I'll have the actual total on screen here. But yeah, as I mentioned before, I kept my my original Player's Choice copy of Madagascar for a reason, and I'll show you. So the reason why I held on to this is because there are actually subtle differences between these two copies, basically, from what I could see on the case here. So here's the differences once again. On the Player's Choice copy, we have this medal here, which says Parents' Choice Silver Honor, and in the original non-player's choice copy. In place of that medal, we have another screenshot of gameplay here saying interact with totally new characters and locations unique to the game, which is kind of true, I suppose. But other than that, the back cover looks the same, I do believe. But when you open up and see the disc, for some reason they changed the disc cover as well, like the disc art. Like they changed the color. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a difference in design in gameplay design as well. Like maybe just slight differences. I'm not entirely sure on that, but because of these differences, that's why I decided to hang on to Player's Choice copy, and why I decided that from now on, I'll actually hang on to any Player's Choice copies I have, even if I replace them. So, yeah, so even after I replace that Sonic Heroes or Sonic Riders or whatever, I'll still hang on to the Player's Choice copy. And as I mentioned before, I now have 2 Metroid Prime copies. So we have the original release right here, and then the one that came bundled with the Platinum GameCube, and also the Prime 2 bonus disc. So, yeah, that's my entire GameCube collection, and I have Core Sergio's copy of Zelda Wind Waker that I'm hanging on to right up here, and then finally Ample. This is an extra copy that I'm going to trade in for more store credits, and then we have the Game Boy Player disc right here, so I can use that as well. So, yeah, that's my GameCube library. This video is gone for probably an hour by now. I'm not sure about that in terms of cutting, though, so I will see folks in a later vlog where we will do another game collection, probably the Xbox or PS2 or even the Wii U, since that's the other collection I'm very obsessed with. But yeah, I'll see you folks later. Bye.